If you're like me, you will have moments where you feel anxious or stressed or worried. And what I find is all that does is just bring more pain and stress and sometimes frustration in my life. But there's always a moment in that where all of a sudden there's a solution that presents itself. Or maybe even the problem that I was worried about suddenly gets solved. And it's usually around that moment that I start to be more aware of God's presence in my life again. And I usually think, why wasn't I more focused on God before? And I, of course, feel very silly in thinking on that. And if you feel this way too, the gospel we just read is a perfect reading. Because there we see the disciples, and they're there with Jesus in the middle of this storm. And they're so worried and afraid. And my vision of them is just going up to Jesus as he's sleeping, as we heard in the boat, and just shaking him and be like, Jesus, Jesus, you need to do something about this right now. And the interesting thing is, Jesus he wakes up, he calms the storm, and everything's okay. But the disciples never stopped to think, if things were really, really that dangerous, wouldn't Jesus have been awake? The fact that Jesus is there asleep seems to suggest that things were going to be okay anyways. So if you relate to the disciples in this, I hope you'll be with me in this, and at least trying, which can sometimes be difficult, but at least to try and be calm in those times of storm, to try to focus in on God and have faith. Because there are hard times, and they will be difficult for us. But if we can remember in our stress, in our worry, in our anxiousness and fear, that God is there, then that journey will be just a little bit easier for us.